Recently, we did an episode talking about kind of like how Rivertown has an incoherent theme, and we called it "What the heck happened to Rivertown?" All right, here's my next question: What the heck happened to Oktoberfest? Hello, everybody. Alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir, and this is Tower Topic.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans because that's who we are and that's who we care about.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing about it. I think I'm in the same boat as I was for Rivertown because in my whole life, there's never been stringent themes at Kings Island. I feel like that element has kind of been taken away a long time ago, but more so with Oktoberfest. Like, I don't think I knew until like the early 2000s that was an area. I never really thought of like the area in front of Fest House being its own area of the park, but it was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and it was, a very vibrant area. You had a lot of different rides there. You had Bayern Curve, one of my favorite rides of all time at Kings Island. This was an attraction where, guests would ride in a bobsled-like train at speeds up to 35 miles per hour on a tight oval track. Operated from 1972 to 1982, and that was kind of the beginning when that, went out. They obviously had other attractions that kind of went in, but the Bavarian Beetle, that was another favorite, twisting, turning track, took guests up and down hills and around tight corners before returning them back to the station in the Oktoberfest areas during its years of operation from 1972 to 1978. It was one of the rides that was transported from Coney Island to Kings Island for the park's opening in 1972. That was a big deal in the Oktoberfest area. You had the Rotor, opened with the park in 1972, was there from 1981. It was made by Chance Rides. They're spinning keggers, 1972 to 1989. First ride I ever rode at Kings Island.
Your first ride at Kings Island?
Yeah, I was walking, you go down International Street, you made the left, and, there it was, as you approach that Oktoberfest kind of area there. So, love that ride. Feature on the Brady Bunch. You might remember Alice trying to ride it. That was one of the rides there. You had the Flying Dutchman that came in the park's second season, 1973. Was there till 1990. You had a Ferris wheel, came in a little bit later, 1978, but it was there till 1990. The Sky Ride, one of the entrance, exit areas of the Sky Ride was in Oktoberfest. And you also had, German Fair was available too. It's a place now called Enrique's, but it was, I guess it was called Der Alte Deutsch Biergarten.
Sure.
So you could get your, you could get your sauerkraut, your brats, your Metz. So anything that you could imagine, that was German fare. I mean, you could find it there. So it very much had that theme. The Fest House, was introduced Winterfest of 1982. So it was once, like we said, it was once a very vibrant area of Kings Island. And it had as much going on there as you saw in Coney Mall, as you saw in Rivertown, as you saw in the kids area.
Yeah. So when do you think that they turn the corner and So Oktoberfest, as far as I'm concerned, is very much dead. Especially with the little bit that was Oktoberfest now.
The Viking Fury, and the Fest House. That's what you have left.
Yeah.
And a Fest House that's, serves Panda Express, La Rosa's Pizza, hamburgers, those kind of things. So what the Fest House was designed to be and what it is now, two different things. So it doesn't really even fit an Oktoberfest theme anymore outside of the exterior of the building.
Yeah, the exterior does. And so, you had Adventure Port. Adventure Port took up a lot of Oktoberfest, but Oktoberfest was, for all accounts and purposes, dead long before that. But when do you think it turned the corner? Do you think it? So you can't say when the Bavarian Beetle was removed because they added the Fest House. So it was later than that. Fest House was what, late 83?
Fest House, Winterfest of 82, and then for the summer season. It started, in '83 was considered its first, full year there. I would say probably, you started to see a little bit, kind of fading away when you lost rides like Flying Dutchman. They're spinning Keggers. Those were a year apart. 1989 for the Keggers, and then 1990 for the Flying Dutchman. Um, those were kind of one of the remaining rides there because you'd already lost the Rotor. The Sky Ride was gone in 1979. So it started, you were taking these rides out, you weren't replacing them. You had some hardware that was going up. King Cobra kind of took over a little bit of that area, but it was not considered Oktoberfest, but it was still like right there in front of you. Then you brought in things like Slingshot, so it just, and then you changed the restaurant, no longer had German food. Now, something about that, Cincinnati has this rich German heritage. So everybody would, you would think that, oh, we got to have German food, but it wasn't popular. Nobody really ate there. And I think it's because, it's just, you're riding rides, you're in an amusement park, it's hot outside. The last thing you want is, brats, sauerkrauts, all those kind of things. So the food never really fit, that time of the year or something. I guess short term you could do something like that, but for the long haul, it was probably one of the least favorite, menu items was the German food. That's why they don't have, if it worked, it would still be there, right?
Oh my god, yeah. So my thought with that has always been, like, and this could, and I wasn't alive in 1972, but I feel like in decades past, Cincinnatians were a lot more in tune with their German heritage. Because I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think people think of
No,
themselves as German
no,
descendants
you're
anymore.
spot on with that. And the other part of it that kind of got lost too is you get into the 1990s and they're no longer, the uniforms, are no
Mhm.
longer German themed. So that was a big selling point that really helped sell that area is when everybody was dressed up that way. So it kind of fit, uh, the area, but not anymore once you got into the 90s. But now just really name only. You got the Viking Fury. That was kind of the last thing that was really added there. That was a big thing and still there today. But you have Adventure Port, which was really really well done. So that added a couple of other things there. You could have maybe beefed up and kept it as Oktoberfest, but I think it works with Adventure Port with what they've done there. But it's just kind of sad, to see a lot of those things that were centerpieces of the park, the different sections, when they had Rivertown, how they wanted that to be, like a frontier town kind of a thing. And that worked. And then what Coney Mall was, it still kind of fits Coney a little bit, but a lot of those kind of rides that you had in a Coney Mall, with the cuddle up and, some other attractions there, Haley's Comet, those type of things, the Flying Eagles, those rides no longer there in Coney Mall. So it's still little, remnants of Coney. You got the Racer, you've
Mhm.
got the Scrambler, you got the Dodge 'em. But other than that, there's nothing that really would take you back to the 1970s there. So it's really International Street's about the only thing that's kind of really held true to what the park was when it first opened, just in appearance. It's not, you don't have the German and the Spanish and all those different shops and things that you had back then. But at least
Yeah.
when you walk in, it still has that European feel to it when you walk into the park.
Well, it does have the Eiffel Tower there. I think that, there's a lot that was lost as far as International Street is concerned, but I do agree that that's the one that was at least kind of preserved because it still does feel international. Now, I wish that they would do a little bit more to define the countries, but at the same time, if it worked, they would have kept doing it. Um, and you get a lot of people that make the argument like they should sell they have Chinese food in the fest house. They should have German food, and it's like I don't know anybody that's like going around looking for the schnitzel. To be honest with
They
you.
tried it. No, seriously, they tried it when the
Oh, I'm
Fest House
sure.
first opened in the early '80s, and that wasn't what guests wanted to eat. They would go on International Street, get their La Rosa's pizza, and they'd come in and watch a show. So they weren't buying the food in the Fest House; they were bringing food from outside, or they were going to Burger Bistro, whatever it was, and bringing it into the Fest House. So that became the kind of food that the Fest House started serving. You had your pizza now with the Roses, you had your burgers, you had your hot dogs, then you had Panda Express, those kind of things. So
Mhm.
uh, the guests kind of dictated what was going to be served in there. It just did not work, with the German fare. So even if they tried it again today, it would not work.
I think that I would be on board with you for. I think they should do an Oktoberfest thing or something like that. That would be a huge opportunity. Kind of like ride what they kind of had with Carnival the first year, as far as a German band and
Yeah, you could do that. You
the
got that plaza area
maple.
and everything. You could do some fun things with it. You just don't have the rides in that you had before. You have the Viking Ferry. That's about it. So, but other than that, I mean, but you could do some kind of a little festival in that plaza area and have some little booths set up and try some German fare and some of those booths. You could try it at that point in time for a short term run. I think you might even have more success with that than you had with the Food and Wine Festival that they tried earlier this summer.
I think you would, because people. Well, you would need to make it beer based. I think because I'm just based on the fact that Oktoberfest downtown does very well with the whole like we go there to drink because nobody goes there because they're German. I want to reconnect with my leader here. Nobody does
No,
that,
no, but
but
you're right. You'd have to have the German beers and those kind of things that you see in Oktoberfest downtown. But that kind of an event, it would work at Kings Island, and you've got that plaza area there outside the Fest House to make that work, and you could do some things even inside the Fest House.
yeah. So when did they switch over? Did they have German shows there originally? Like,
They did, they did at the very beginning, and it was a show called The Woodchopper's Ball too, and they were kind of dressed in the German kind of attire and that for the show.
mhm.
So yeah, they did.
And then when did they switch from that?
As it got into the late '80s, they started to move away from that a little bit. Just
Mhm.
again, because that wasn't why guests were coming in there to eat the food. They were bringing in it, again, in from the outside, from the other, locations around the park. So it just made sense that that's what people are bringing in here. Let's serve that in here. And that's kind of how that evolved and kind of moved away from the German fare.
So why do you think that? So okay, here's a good example of this whole dynamic. Look at this. So Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, they have a fest house. Looks a lot like ours. It's got the same look and feel. Inside, they've got Chinese food. They've got pizza. Like it's not schnitzel, but they still do a German show on the stage. Why do you think it works there, but it doesn't work at Kings Island?
Well, I think because, you look at that, it's actually a theme park
Hmm.
at Busch Gardens, where Kings Island's more of an amusement park. They stay true to the themes. You have the associates are in the uniforms that fit those themes. So it just, plays better to that. I think that's part of the reason why it's continued to work there and not so much in a place like Kings Island anymore.
Hmm. Yeah,
There's
that's
kind of a
that's a
disconnect. There's a little disconnect. So if you're going to have a German themed area, like the Oktoberfest area, and then you've got the associates wearing the khaki shorts and the red shirt, working the rides, it just doesn't fit the theme, right?
I mean, I imagine that modern Germans wear khaki shorts and occasionally red shirts. No, my theory is that it's not the season pass because if you look, they've got like the Irish dancers and stuff, which was just an incredible show. From my understanding, by the way, at the latest at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, is that like a tree fell on that building, so it's closed temporarily with the Irish dancer. That was a great show. We went in there
Hmm.
just like, oh, we need to sit down, and that I'm so glad we did. But I
Yeah, but
feel
that
like
park's built. That park's built. Busch Gardens. When it's, I mean, it's themed around the different countries and that.
well,
So
it is, but my point is they don't have like a 60-70% season pass mix. So yes, when we went there, we watched the Irish dancers and it was great. If they had an Irish dancer show every year, year after year, it would get real stale real quick. But they cater to kind of a different audience where it's different people every day.
right.
And I wonder if that's um part of it with Kings Island too, because remember they introduced season passes in 1979, so stuff like that where it's a novelty, where it's like, oh, I feel like I'm in Germany. This is so fun. Gets really old when you visit once a week. I wonder if there's something to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're definitely, not getting that 1 or 2 time a year guest. You're getting the guests that have been there, they come 10 times, 20 times, some go 100 times a year.
Some go 1,000 times and they recognize them up in the international restaurant. I don't know why I just said that. Anyway, so, but I think that, when we're talking 50 years ago, when we're second or third generation, you're not too far removed from there. And I think that you're just far more in tune with it. And that's why it's not like a separation of culture where like, Asians are more in tune or Indians are more in tune or anything like that. I think it's just that a lot of those families came over a lot more recently. So there's maybe even generations in the household that, remember being there, or at least their parents were there. Well, we don't have that. And I think that's kind of sad in a way, but at the same time, it it kind of is an evidence of the melting pot where a lot of Cincinnatians don't see themselves as German. They think of themselves as just Americans, which is kind of cool in its own regard. But that's at the sacrifice of we don't identify with Lederhusen or a Maypole
Right.
or anything like that. There was a really nice German restaurant that a family around here where I live had, and the wife was, I mean, the husband had some sort of, he was VP of some insurance he made plenty of money, but kind of as like a hobby thing, she was really into German cooking. And she opened this restaurant and they put a bunch of money into advertising and stuff, and it didn't even last a year, just because like I don't really know what schnitzel is and I don't really want to try it, even though that's where I came from, you know? So
Well, let me
I
ask you
don't
this,
know.
Ryan.
Yeah.
With what's left of Oktoberfest, and we're talking Viking Fury and in a fest house name only, do you think it's time that they just annex those things and it just kind of goes into Adventureport and you just retire the fest house as a section? I mean, not fest house, but the Oktoberfest as a section.
I don't think we're at that point yet. I think that what's gonna eventually have to happen is that if they wanna preserve it as Oktoberfest and not I mean, if you're gonna add theme or something like that to that side of the fest house, then I'd be okay with that. But I don't necessarily think they need to add rides, but if they did make it a little bit more German, uh, as far as like look and feel and stuff, of some sort of festival or something at all times, kind of like what they do with Adventureport, then I think the area can be salvaged, but there has to be like an effort behind it. As it stands now, I bet most people just don't know that it is an area, to be honest with you.
Right. Fest house. You were going to rename it something different, since it's anything but a fest house in terms of what you would anticipate the menu items and what the shows and that would be about. What would you call it?
Somebody suggested the name Moonlight Gardens as a Coney Island tribute. I think that would be cool.
All right. What about if you pay tribute to say, Gary Walks and you call it like Walks Cafe?
I mean, it's kind of a big building for a cafe, but
Well,
Walks
just something like that.
Cafeteria.
Something like that pays tribute to really the founder of Kings Island.
I will tell
And,
you
and
this.
then inside, then you could kind of make that a little historical kind of a place in there to just kind of that walks people through. You do have Tower Gardens, but you do something in there too. I don't know, but I just think if with I'm okay with leaving it as Oktoberfest. I just wish there was more to it.
I agree, and to clarify, I think that the park should do a lot more with Gary Walks. There should be some sort of tribute, and I'd like to see it. He's
Statue.
something like that, and so he's not a young man. He's seemingly not in great health. I'd like to see them do it so he can see it. So sooner
Yeah,
than
I mean, you go
later.
to Hershey Park. There's like a statue of
Milton.
Milton Hershey. Hershey, and it has a plaque, and it has his story about why he started Hershey Park. Something like that in Tower Gardens, a statue of Gary Walks. I think would be a nice touch.
Yeah, because if ever there was a founder of Kings Island, if you had to name somebody, it would be him. I think that would be a great I mean, we're going off on a tangent again, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to do that with the Fest House because I feel like it would be too quickly renamed. Like, oh no, now we're French themed, so it's a French name now, and then Gary Walks' name
Yeah,
is eliminated from it. I would rather
yeah,
see maybe a statue in Tower Gardens or something like that,
yeah,
or maybe like a plaque with something that he writes about, like, here it is 50 years later, and or I guess that would have been an
yeah.
opportunity in uh 22.
I do think though for Oktoberfest to really have a purpose there, you can kind of compensate for the loss of rides and things just by having, like we talked about, just one of those events. It's like a 10-day, 2-week type of an event, like they did with the Food and Wine Festival, and just have it be Oktoberfest and do something like that. So Ryan, question for you: if you
Yes.
were going to go to an Oktoberfest event at Kings Island, what would you wear?
Well, okay. The first answer I would give you is Lederhusen, which I don't even think I'm pronouncing properly. But since I don't own a pair, slash, my pair is currently at the dry cleaner, I would consider at least wearing the most German shirt I own, and that is a Tower Topics t shirt. Now, Don, tell them about the Tower Topics t shirt. I'm too excited.
Tower Topics t-shirts, just $22, and you can order those by just sending us a direct message on our X, which is Tower_Topics. We'll send you the QR code through Venmo to make the purchase. Once you've made the purchase, we just need your t-shirt size and your shipping address, and we'll get that out to you within a matter of days. We've been selling several of these a week. It's exciting to see fans of the show, wanting to own one of those shirts. Ryan and I both, wear them around, and it's a real comfortable shirt too. It comes in that Carolina blue color.
Yep, not North Carolina blue. We learned that this week.
We learned that. Yes, we
We
did.
learned that this week. It's Carolina blue, but it's a very beautiful color. I really like it. So $22 including shipping. So great deal. We'll be right back with the listener questions. All right. First listener question from Lee P., Hamilton, Ohio. Why is KI not teasing what's new for 2025 like the other parks?
We don't know.
Maybe nothing's coming next year. Well, we know something's coming next year. I think there's a lot of strategy involved with the teaser campaign. I mean, we don't know why. So none of this is an answer to your question. The answer to your question is we don't know. But with that being said, there is kind of a art/science to, we have things we want you to talk about now, so we're not going to talk about what's coming later.
Yeah,
You don't
and
want
yeah,
people
in recent
talking.
years, there's not been the teaser campaigns. There was not a teaser campaign for Camp Snoopy. There was not a teaser campaign for Adventure Port. There was not a teaser campaign for Kings Mills Antique Autos. It was just, well, here's the announcement kind of a thing. They did do something in part for Kings Mills Antique Autos, but Adventure Port, Camp Snoopy, it was just, published on the website, social media, and that was it.
Yeah, what's funny is that would be such a softball like PR thing too, is you set up something that's a teaser that means almost nothing and just leave it there. And you got Fox 19 and WLWT and all them, doing website stories about, fans are speculating about what this might mean for next year. You can even throw in your little hashtag or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there is an art/science to the whole thing of, well, we have Carnival going on right now. We don't want you thinking about 2025. But at the same time, you're right. I guess they don't want to do stuff like that anymore, which is a little odd, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah, Kings Dominion had Carnival, and they were still teasing their things, so who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Well, King's Dominion might be a slightly different situation because theirs was unmistakable. They had a big thing of track, so
Yeah,
no
you
matter
couldn't do anything
what,
about
people were
that.
going to talk about that. So, I don't necessarily agree with the decision not to do teasers, but at the same time, I don't know their reason for not doing teasers, so I can't necessarily dispute their exact reason. Just in
Right.
general, I think from a fan standpoint, I think teasers are a really good idea because it gets people riled up. Next
It
question, Lisa
does.
Lisa K, Cincinnati, Ohio. Do you think Camp Snoopy did what the park was hoping?
I don't know, what was the park hoping, Ryan?
To win back the golden ticket.
Well, that remains to be seen. Right now that ballots are being cast for those different kind of awards. So we'll see. I think they did a really good job with Camp Snoopy. I think they wanted to enhance the kids area, so I think mission accomplished there. They wanted to add an attraction that guests of all ages, would enjoy. They succeeded there with Snoopy Soapbox Racers. They added another, well, I guess addition by subtraction there, but they have the dining location there with Pigpen's Mess Hall. I think that's been popular with guests. So yeah, I would say minus any awards they might have been thinking they could get, I think it's done what the park was hoping it would do.
Yeah, to me, if you look at Soapbox Racers, is that a good addition? Yes, very good. The Beagle Scout Acres play area, I think it looks kind of bare. The kids seem to love it, so yes, good addition. Pigpen's Mess Hall, yes, good addition. And I kind of expressed this when we kind of like went back and reviewed it the first time, but the only downside is that there's that huge slab of concrete, and they could have not had that as a result of this, but they still do. So it's like they had this huge slab of concrete with nothing around it. It was a concrete desert, but now it's like a concrete city, with stuff around it. So that's the only downside. But as far as, I mean, does it add to it? Yes. I don't think it's addition through subtraction, by the way, with the Pigpens thing, because the other place was like a popcorn stand. So you definitely got an enhancement. I mean, certainly there's that porque no los dos argument of why not have both, but we didn't miss out on a different restaurant for this restaurant. We missed out on a snack stand in exchange for a restaurant, as far as I'm seeing it. So I think that's a net positive as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I
I
mean,
will say this, Ryan. Yeah, I'll say this. I mean, I've been going to the park since 1972, and I don't think the kids area has ever been better at Kings
really,
Island. I think, I really, I mean, I think, the product is, really good that's being offered. I miss the Hanna-Barbera characters, I'll admit that, but in terms of the actual product and what's available there and that, I think it's the best the kids area has been.
for me, okay, this is totally looking through nostalgic eyes, but the original Nickelodeon Central, that's the best it's been. But I was also at that age when that came out. So I guess, I mean, and how old were you in 72 when you first started going?
I don't
Were
want to
you
date myself like that. I was young.
were you like a little kid, or were you like too old for Hanna-Barbera Land essentially?
I wasn't too old for it. No, I mean, there were rides that I could do. And so I was you know, just now getting tall enough to ride rides like the racer and other things in the park. So yeah, okay, I was 9 years old. All right, 9 years
Okay.
old, right?
9 years
But
old.
yeah, 9 years old. But no, I mean, I mean, I thought the kids area was good. You know, and it's always been good, and it's been award winning in that. As we know, they had that run of 17, 18 years in a row that they won the Golden
Mhm.
Ticket Award for best kids area. But I think right now the kids area at Kings Island, the best it has ever been. Now, like I said, there are some flaws, with
Yeah.
how they could have done some things with the concrete and that. But in terms of, what's there and how it looks and the signage and everything, I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah. No, I think there's definitely an argument for that. I honestly think that their goal in the end is winning back the golden ticket with this. If that happens, remains to be seen. But I tell you what, if they do, that'll definitely mean it did what they wanted it to do. Because that's you add it, and they slipped to like third. If they get up to second, that's nice, but not great, because being second best isn't marketable as far as I'm concerned. But if they get up to first and they can say world's greatest kids area, that's very marketable. And both Paramount and Cedar Fair did a great job with it for a really long time before it um, stopped being the greatest kids area once Dollywood started winning it. But yeah, that's a really good question, Lisa. I guess it's subjective as to what we think that they were trying to accomplish with it, but cool. Hey, I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.